Hi, I'm Deepu Maduri. I'm one of the assistant professors at the ICANN School of Medicine, Mount Sinai in New York City, and I'm here to talk about the CARTITUDE-1 study. CARTITUDE-1 is a phase 1b/2 study of JNJ-4528 in relapsed refractory myeloma patients. JNJ-4528 is a structurally distinct second-generation chimeric antigen T-cell receptor with two BCMA binding domains. The CARTITUDE-1 study consisted of two portions, a phase 1b and a phase 2. The phase 1b portion, the primary objective was to characterize safety and confirm the recommended phase 2 dose as informed by the LEGEND-2 study. The primary objective of the phase 2 study was to characterize efficacy. In the phase 1b portion, we enrolled 29 patients in total. The median age was 60 and half of them were female. All of these patients were heavily pretreated as the median prior lines of therapy was 5. 100% of these patients were triple exposed, 86% of these patients were triple refractory, 72% of these patients were penta exposed, and 31% of these patients were penta refractory. Let's talk about the safety data of this study. The most common adverse event, grade 3 or higher, was hematological, with non-hematological adverse events of grade 3 or higher were very uncommon. 2 patients had increased AST, 1 patient had increased ALT, and 1 patient had diarrhea. All but 2 patients had what's called cytokine release syndrome, with 86% of the patients having mostly grade 1 and 2 CRS. 1 patient had grade 3 CRS, and 1 patient had a prolonged dose-limiting toxicity of grade 4 CRS, which turned into a grade 5 event at day 99 due to complications. Neurotoxicity was very uncommon in this study, as only 10% of the patients had any grade of neurotoxicity, with 1 patient having a grade 3 neurotoxic event, which happened concurrently with her grade 3 CRS event, both of which resolved very quickly with the administration of tocilizumab and steroids. As I mentioned, all these patients are heavily pretreated, and what we noticed was a 100% overall response rate. Every single patient responded. Every single patient had a reduction in their paraprotein. 27 out of 29 patients are still progression-free at a median of 6 months follow-up. When we looked at MRD status, 17 of these patients were evaluable for MRD status, and all 17 were MRD negative at the time of latest assessment. So in conclusion, what the CARTITUDE-1 study confirmed was the recommended phase 2 dose as informed by the LEGEND-2 study. It also showed us that this was a safe and had a manageable safety toxicity profile. 100% of the patients responded, and 27 of the 29 patients are still progression-free at a median of 6 months follow-up. 100% of the evaluable patients were MRD negative. And we just found out this weekend that FDA gave breakthrough designation for JNJ-4528 for relapsed refractory patients, and we're very excited to see what the phase 2 and the phase 3 studies will bring forward. So the phase 2 portion of the CARTITUDE study has been fully enrolled, and we have initiated phase 2 and phase 3 studies all over the US and in Europe.